My name is Ryan Sullivan, and I'm a student at the University of Arizona. And I did my internship with Dr. Coelho in the Agriculture and Biosystems Engineering Department. And the internship that we did was we put a hydroponic growing system in a shipping container, and we were able to grow plants in there. So I did my internship at a kind of a split duty between the ABE shop and then outside of the Shantz building is where the container currently sits now. And I was working on that for about 6 months from December of 2016 to August 2017. So the purpose of the project is to demonstrate that you can grow food anywhere that you have enough room to fit a 10 by 20 shipping container, which is the size of our unit. The the reason behind this is we want to be able to grow enough food to feed the growing population of the earth. Dr. Coelho is huge in sustainability, and that is one of his biggest things that he realizes is we are not going to be able to feed the growing population of the world with the amount of farming we have now. So we need some solutions that we can urbanize agriculture and be able to get food closer to these big cities and be able to provide food for more people. So what I was in charge of during this project was the entire construction of the container. Me and one other student, we did all of the building. We did some fabrication. We built a steel cage that holds the air conditioning unit that sits on the back of the container, so no one would come by and rip off our air conditioning. We also had to do quite a bit of grinding on the box, and we also used a plasma torch to cut some windows in the side of the container. And it looks really cool when we have all of the plants in there because we have a couple different colors of LED or fluorescent lights. The ones in the back growing system are kind of pink, so it really makes the container pop at night, and it looks really cool walking by when you see a bunch of plants in there. So second, we had to do a ton of PVC construction. How our growing system works is we send a header pipe with water up to the top, and then our water snakes back through kind of a serpentine system and then drains into a reservoir at the bottom of the system. We also had to do electrical wiring. We had to wire the entire box. We put a big circuit breaker in there like you would see in a home. And we had to adhere to some pretty strict code because the container is sitting on U of A property. They have a lot stricter codes than a general contract would in just a typical house. And due to the amount of water we have in the container, we had to make sure all of our outlets were GFI certified. So that's another big thing that we had to make sure of before we were doing any growing in there. And then once we got the whole container constructed, we were growing for a few months. What we were growing was some basil, lettuce, microgreens, and a couple other crops. And to do this, we had to formulate some nutrient solutions to enhance our water so the plants would be getting the necessary nutrients they need. So some of the engineering aspects that went into the project, first we had to do some pump sizing. We had to calculate the amount of head that we were going to have in the header pipes going up to the top, and then we had to calculate how much water we needed to be able to provide a uniform distribution across our 4 tubes that we have on each rack. We also had to figure out how much lighting requirement we had so that we would be evenly distributing enough light to all the plants and they would be able to grow. We had to do a ton of teamwork and coordination. We were out at the farm for a long time, so we had to figure out when everyone could be together and actually be able to accomplish things because a lot of the things required more than one person. So it was a lot went into it to be able to work as a team and then function highly as a unit. And then obviously there was some irrigation design that went into it to once again make sure that we were getting even distribution across our 4 tubes. So one of the big things that went into that was we had to design a new header pipe at the top. Before we just had a pipe that went up and then a straight header pipe and then some spaghetti tubes that ran into all of the tubes that we were into all the pipes that we were growing out of. and we weren't getting even flow across the 4 tubes at first. So we made a new system that had 4 outlets, and it was able to distribute water a lot more evenly because we had some pressure regulators on there. And once we installed that, then we saw a very uniform flow across our 4 pipes. So some of the things I really liked about the project, first was Dr. Quello. Dr. Quello was an amazing professor to have an internship for. And one of the things that I really liked about working with him was that any ideas that me or the other student at the time had for the green box, we brought our ideas to Dr. Quello, and he either approved it, and if he did, he gave us some money to get some materials, and we were able to implement our own ideas into the project. So that was really cool, being able to dream something up in your head and then go out and be able to do it and see if it actually works. That's a big part of engineering that a lot of people don't get. They just design something and then they don't actually get to put together. So being able to have my hands on this project and be doing the work myself and make sure that it was actually going to work was really cool. Another thing was just the location. It was really convenient once we got the container to U of A that we could just stop by there on an hour, 2 hour break that we had between class and be taking care of the plants or setting it up at first before we were growing in there. And it was just a really good project all around. I would recommend a internship with Dr. Quello to anyone out there that is looking for some experience. And so just to finish up, for any of you that are out there looking for some internships, one of the big things you need to do is to read Dava's emails. She is a great resource, and she sends out a ton of information about internships and jobs during the summers. So she's a great resource to have. And also just ask around. It may be a little bit harder for you younger students before you are up into your classes with your tech electives, where you're doing something that you actually want. You're not just doing your gen eds. So just try and get your foot in the door with these professors, shake their hand, get their name, and tell them that you're looking for some internships and that they'll probably have something for you. I don't know a single professor on campus that I've talked to that wasn't able to provide someone with an internship, either that or next semester. So the ABE department is really good about being able to get some students some internship experience.